today's session we'll be discussing about record type. So what is the definition of record type? Record type controls page layouts and picklist values of an object which will be visible or available to different users while creating a record of that particular object. So let me show you with an example, then you can understand what is record type and where it can be used. I've created an object called Prime Videos. We all know, I've taken the example of a OTT. OTT, if you are a registered customer, you'll be able to access certain set of movies. You don't have to pay for them. Suppose you are not a registered customer, then you can access a certain set of movies, but you have to pay around some amount for it. That's the scenario. Let's see how record type is being used. See, there are two record types that I've created: guest user record type and registered user record type. This is for system admin. System admin can, using either of this record type, it can create a record, and in using a record type will be controlling the pick list values and the page layout. Let's see how can we control the pick list values and the page layouts using record types for different users. Okay, for the same user, now he's a system admin. Let me use a guest user record type and see what is the difference in page layout. You can see there is a list of movies and amount to be paid. If you scroll, you have only 3 options. Okay, now let's say save. Okay, now a record is being created. Now again I'll go to the Prime. Now I'll select the registered user record type. Click next. See, now you don't see the field amount to be paid, but there is a lot more options in the pick list values. This is one example where it shows you how we can control the pick list values in the page layouts. Here I've used the two record types on the single profile, same profile, system admin profile, but you can use, for registered user, you can have a certain only, like for example, a registered user can have a registered user record type, and if there is a profile called guest user, then the guest user can have a default guest user record type. I'll show you that example as well. Let's go to a user. Let me log in as a Sandy, as a registered user. Now when I log in as a Sandy, if I want to create a record for Prime Video, now I'm a registered user. Now I don't have to, as per the scenario, as per the client requirement, if you are a registered user, you have access to all the movies, you don't have to pay. You don't have to go through that flow, that business process for a guest user. See, there was no option. You could select the list of movies and save. Okay. Now let me log in as a guest user and see what is the difference for a guest user. I'll make him a guest user. Okay, login. Now when I log in as a guest user, if I try to create a Prime Video record, click new. See, I only see a guest user record type. I didn't get the option because I have not added I have not added the record type. The default record type for guest user I've selected as guest user. Like this, for each profile you can define different business process based on using the record type. Spider-Man, save. And it's also possible we can assign 2 page layout for a single profile. As you saw, system admin You can use a guest record type and use a different page layout, or a registered record type and use a different page layout. If I clone a record, there is one standard field being created. When you create a record type, a standard field called record type will get created on the object. I can show you that one. See, a record type ID field is being created. Okay, now this was the example. So now let's see how to create a record type. Just taken the example of an OTT. New field, which is a pick list. Enter values. Let me give same. I'm keeping it default. Save and new. Let's create a text. Or if you want, you can make it a currency. I've created the fields and the object. Now let's create the record type. First, let's create the page layouts, different page layout for different users. New page layout. I'm selecting the same primary video master, existing page layout. And the new page layout is guest user. Page. I'm keeping the amount to be paid for guest user, so I'll save it. I'll create a new page layout for registered user where they don't have to pay the amount. Here I'll remove the field amount to be paid. Okay. And I'll also remove this field only movies. Okay, now I've created the page layout. Let's go and create the record type. New. So I'm giving the name as guest user record type. Okay. Be careful when making available. If you want to remove it, you have to go to the profile and then remove it. Else you don't need a registered user. There is a one guest user. Now let me create one more record type. For system admin, we'll assign two record types. So I'm creating master registered user record type active. If you select default, you will not get those options. Okay, I've created two record types. Now for registered user, he'll have all the fields, so I'll not make any change here. For guest user record type, click on edit. It doesn't need all access to all the movies. We'll remove. Okay. See. Now I have not created a tab for the, so it will not be available, so I have to go create a tab for the object. I'm giving everything FD for. Then both the record type access in the for the system admin profile. Go to guest user. You can see the amount to be paid. Cancel. If I want to select a registered user, see if I have access to all the memories, and there is no field which asks for the amount to be paid. Thank you everyone.